light. I want to close out this podcast talking about light. I got my peaches out in Georgia, yeah, yeah. I get my weed from California, that's that shit. I took my chick up to the north, yeah, yeah. I get my light right from the source, yeah, see. I get my light right from the source. I get my light right from the source. Yeah, yeah. I got my peaches out in Georgia, yeah, yeah. I get my light right from the source. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Your light. Shine blockers. Don't block my shine, shorty. Don't block my shine, shorty. Motherfuckers be out for your light. Them light hunters. Yeah. I want to talk about inner light. So I've recently started my own production company, Noi Productions. This is a venture for me to, up my podcasting game, come up with different streams of podcast entertainment, interviews, venture into feature film, documentary, audio play, the whole wackadoo, the whole kit and caboodle, the whole enchilada, folks. Noi Productions. And I've been noticing that in business, in the pursuit of one's business, creativity, and oneself, motherfuckers be after your light. These vampires, these energy vampires, they be after your light. And, I certainly have found that there's a lot of perseverance that's needed in business and creativity in oneself, and a light. Case in point, I work a Joe job, a day gig, in order to fund my production company, Noi Productions, and also to, basic upkeep of myself, pay my bills, and, self-sufficiency. And in the course of this, one thing I learned in the last few jobs that I've had, I've noticed a common thread. You are hired for your competence and immediately dismissed for your incompetency, right? They hire you in one breath for your competency, then they criticize you directly afterwards for your incompetency. Expectations. As I mentioned, I recently, within the last 2 months or so, been working for this new company. They manufacture office furniture. And I have always gone on the outlook in recent years. I've been going on with the outlook of serving, to serve my employer, to put in a hard day's work, earn my paycheck, try to meet the needs of my employer, which in turn meets my needs. One hand washes the other. In order to have the job, you have to respect the job, in a certain sense. Or you could be miserable like a stick in the mud, and every day is a complete headache, right? You can kick water uphill if that works for you. But I figure, get involved, be of service, have a good attitude, and, there's a grace about that. But it doesn't always quite work. Because like I said, there are people that are out for your light. They want to snuff your light out. Turn the lights off. You're hired for your competency, and then in the same breath, they criticize your incompetency. It's a game of control, to snuff your light out. There are many people in this world who can't keep their eyes on themselves. We're seeing that with this division in society, vaccinated versus the unvaccinated, the achievers versus the underachievers, the one culture versus the other culture, all these warring factions. And instead of keeping their eyes on themselves, they try to snuff out the other person's light. Yeah. I mean, not to get too deep into it, like I said, the company basically sang my praises. They sang my praises. Jonathan, we've seen you work in the last month or so. We're very impressed with it. We're offering you a position of full-time employment. Would you be up for it? Me, as a, up-and-coming business with Noi Productions, a man who has to support himself, I say, thank you very much. I am interested in the production. Rather, I am very much interested in the position. Thank you very much. I'll take it. And immediately afterward, what about this? What about that? This isn't getting done. That isn't getting done. Is it? They're coming at me with all this anxiety, trying to snuff out my light. And it's crazy because in the training of the position that I am now in, I'm stepping into the role of a man who was 25 years in my current position. He quit the company because it was too overwhelming, too much overbearingness, too much work being thrust upon him. The whole department knows it's a unreasonable quota which is being dumped in my specific area. And all this bad mouthing and complaining was going on during my training. And the second I step into the role, it's, where's this? Where's that? Dumping all this shit on me. The phrase, pissing on your head while saying it's raining, sort of comes to mind. They're pissing on my head, telling me it's raining. What about this? What about this? How come this isn't getting done? How come that's not getting done? Because I am one person dealing with multiple tasks. That doesn't make any sense. Why don't you hire some more people? Trying to snuff my light out. Isn't it enough that I show up with a good attitude, willing to work? No, they want me anxious. They want each other anxious. And that ain't nothing new. That's like the MO of a company. You're great, you're great, you're great. Once they hire you, now we control you. We want you thinking about the job, focused on the job, anxious about the job. If you're not anxious, that means you're not doing your job. Isn't that how it usually goes? In the workplace? Stupid arguments, unrealistic expectations? Nothing but stupid arguments and unrealistic expectations. And even if they are realistic, it's almost like they get the joy in punishing. They get the joy in saying that that person's wrong. When it's like, why don't you calm down and work together to get the job done right? What's with the enjoyment of condemning others? Aren't we just here to do the job and go home? What's with all this personal hoop-de-doo? Trying to snuff your light out. People who feel so miserable about themselves that they won't rest until you feel just as miserable as they do. And how do I know this to a certain extent without being paranoid? You might be thinking, maybe he's just paranoid. Well, I mean, like I said, I have a production company of my own, Noi Productions. I'm a small business person myself, upstart. And I hire people for little things that I need done with my business. And I'm in a phase right now too where I see that, I hire a person to do something. Sometimes they do the job exactly how I want it. But the truth is, I know they have skills that could go beyond the task at hand. And I know it would be wrong for me to complain about it or to push it on them because it's not their responsibility. The contract was for them to do one piece of the work. And all the other things that need to get done, sure, they could do it, but it's not really their responsibility. And it would be wrong of me as a, contract employer to thrust this responsibility on them, even though it's not what they signed up for. I see that in my own business. I see that there are things that I could bother my contracted employees about, like, just a few. Like I said, it's a small business and, little things come up. And I could bitch and bellyache and make my issues their issues. But it's not really a part of the contract. And conversely, I see when I hire a person for a task, they change the agreement and don't fulfill the task. And I see there, even when the work is good, but they have kind of prorated it in their favor, I see, hey, that's a situation where I could say something, or I could accept the work for what it is and keep that in mind when I look to hire for further work down the road. I've had that as well, where it's like I hire a person, they obviously didn't do what we agreed upon, but it's sufficient for the price, so I'll accept the work, but that's the end of our business dealings. I mean, you've shown your level of commitment to the things that are going on here with me. Yeah, what's the word? You reneged on your obligations. You expect me to hire you for a further gig, right? And I say this humbly, not as some, billionaire warlord, fucking, my minions running around doing work for me, just a humble, upcoming production company, small business guy like myself. I see what goes on in business. I'm learning that it's not always about the right thing. It's not always about the right thing. Sometimes it's about the control and tyrannical stranglehold that a bloodthirsty employer might try to squeeze out of a, up against the wall employee, rather. The little guy loses. Trying to steal your light. Pissing on your head, telling you when it's raining. Or just the vultures in society, these energy vampires that take joy out of misery. I'm walking down the street the other day. Beautiful sunny day. It was like that golden hour at dusk when the sun is slowly setting and it's that beautiful orange-red cast in the sky. Just gorgeous. Hot but breezy. Just a beautiful end of summer type of evening. Just stunning. And I'm walking past this little lawn area, and there was like a flock of sparrows. Sparrows? Cute as a button, right? Who don't love a sparrow? God's eye is on the sparrow. I think Sly and the Family Stone said that. His eye is on the sparrow, 'cause I know, change me, Lord, change me. His eye's on the sparrow. This little flock of sparrows hopping around. Golden sun setting in the sky. I'm looking at them, and it's a very tranquil, beautiful moment. One with God. A hawk swoops down, snatches a sparrow, snatches the sparrow right in front of me, flies off with it. You hear its terrified screams, the terrified final screams of a sparrow out to slaughter. He's like, it was horrifying. I mean, I could still hear the terrified screams of this little sparrow. His final screams as he was getting dragged off to slaughter. No, no, no. It breaks your heart, you know what I mean? Like, it was fucking ugly. And I don't hate the hawk. The hawk was just being a hawk. You know what I mean? And conversely, sparrows eat bugs. I never knew that. I just thought they ate bird seed, you know? Eating bird seeds and twigs and shit. Well, I saw I saw a sparrow eat a ladybug once. Yeah. Like pecking at a ladybug. And I'm like, you know, I mean, ladybugs are beautiful. I was like, why are you fucking around with that ladybug for, you little prick? Right? As Elton John would say, Rocket Man. I mean, it's the circle of life. You know what I mean? So I wasn't mad at the hawk. Hawk was just being a hawk, and that's how God made him. Or her. A hawkess. Well, anyway, after the murder of this sparrow that I witnessed, there was a lady in front of me, and she goes, what was that? I heard a weird noise, and I was like, what was that? That's the weirdest bird I ever seen. I was a little shook up, like I said. I was like, yeah, a hawk just flew out of the sky and snatched up a little sparrow and took it off to slaughter. I was really shook up about it, right? That's one of my hobbies is bird feeding. Like I feed birds and shit. Part of my hobby. You know, I go for a walk and feed the sparrows. Feed the pigeons. You know, building managements hate me. You know, they say don't feed the birds. Sign everywhere, a sign telling you not to feed birds and shit. Fuck off. I want to feed them, I'll feed them. They come out, why are you feeding the pigeons? Don't you know that there's a fucking pigeon population explosion in this neighborhood? I'm like, leave me the hell alone, all right? These immigrants come over here, pay no taxes. Why can't these pigeons? Fuck off, right? So I'm feeding these pigeons. Anyway, I love birds and pigeons and sparrows, right? So I'm telling this lady, yeah, this fucking hawk just flew out of the sky and ate this sparrow. And then she goes, well, that's dinner then, huh? That's dinner. Stealing your light. I think she saw that I was a little moved by what happened. I think she saw that in me. And as a comedian myself, let me tell you, if you write a funny joke about a sparrow getting murdered by a hawk, perhaps it can be funny. But witnessing it is not funny. If you witness a hawk fly down from the sky, snatch up a screaming sparrow, and fly off with it, well, I guess it's a little funny, but it's actually quite terrifying. I could still hear the screams of this little sparrow. He was screaming for his life. No, no, no. And that woman saw that I was affected by that, and that's what the little bitch said. She goes, well, it's dinner then, huh? Trying to make me I don't know. Like I said, I'm becoming, paranoid. Maybe I'm a little paranoid, but, you're being a little bitch about it, right? I'm like, this isn't funny in the least to witness a sparrow get murdered. I was just like, yeah, bon appetit. And she laughed, and then I walked off. But to my point, these vampires, these energy vampires that try to steal your light. She was trying to snuff my light out. Make an ugly comment when I was obviously kind of affected by what happened to that poor little sparrow. Nothing funny about it. Ha ha ha. Like, we both saw the same thing. It was quite barbaric. So that's something that I want y'all to keep in mind. And without getting too preachy, I definitely have to keep in mind. I get my peaches out in Georgia, yeah, yeah. I get my weed from California, yeah, yeah. I take my chick up to the north, yeah, yeah, yeah. I get my light from the source, yeah, yeah, see. I get my light right from the source, yeah, yeah, yeah. You know, you get your light right from the source. God. Fucking microphone's always fucking with me. God. You know what I mean? You gotta get your light from the source. Now, I'm not exactly a philosophical philosophist, but, you know, yeah. Gotta watch out for these fucking light snatchers. They're everywhere, boy. And, you know, that was on my mind this week. So, you know, chin up, head up. And what I'm doing is I'm not taking things too personal, and I'm not giving people the opportunity to steal my light. Because that's the thing. It's like, okay, you can be motivated to do good. You know, like I mentioned, you work hard in your job, but then there's somebody trying to make you angry, to snuff your light out, to snatch your light away. Giving you problems and aggravation over nothing, just because you seem like you're a competent person with a light emitting from you. Or you're walking down the street and somebody says something negative or acts a negative way because you're obvious. You have a light to you. People see it. People don't want to be alone in hell. People want people miserable just the way they're miserable. And you can't let them snatch your light away. You can't let them turn the lights off on you, no matter how hard they try. You know? So, you know, I get my light right from the source. Yep, yep, yep. God, you know? Or the electric company, you know what I mean? Hydro. But wherever you get your light from, you can't let these energy vampires shut it off. Because that's what they're trying to do, boy. You know? Can't let it happen. Hallelujah.